Hello, welcome, and thank you to anyone who clicked on this video. Today I'm going to be going over the very disappointing 2026 free agency class. Before we get started, if it sounds weird, I am sick right now, so that's why I sound the way I do. But I have to get this out if I want to do it because free agency opens up in a little uh, under 3 hours. I'll be honest, I thought there were 31 days in June, so that's why it's so late. But let's get into it. Starting off, we have Anders Lee. Uh, I have him leaving the Islanders, and he'll sign for 3 to 4 years somewhere else. I think around that range. Um, he's a big goal scoring winger that can play up and down the lineup. So he fits about anywhere, right? What team? Every team needs either depth or high end scoring. Not that he's a high end scorer, but he can play higher in the lineup. So Chicago's someone, but I'll say them for essentially every forward. Most people know they need help. Bedard needs help, but also Detroit. Detroit could be an answer for a lot of these. And then Minnesota is the one everyone keeps talking about. They're going to have to replace a good bit of wingers, a couple that we're going to talk about. He's from there. So, next we have my former captain, Boone Jenner. And I think he leaves and signs for 4 to 5 years somewhere else. I think I know I said Detroit for Anders Lee, but I think Boone is perfect for Detroit. Um, he can play down the middle. He can also play on the wing. He can do both. But that seems like an easy fit. Also, any team that needs a second line center. So, Montreal, but they might be scared of the term. LA, Winnipeg. He's from Canada, so he might like Winnipeg might not be as scary to him. I could even see Carolina or Utah. Next, we have Patrick Kane. I have three teams that I like a lot here. One of them is Minnesota. He would. I don't know if he'd be an upgrade on Zuccarello, but I think he could fill that spot very competently. I like LA. That just seems like a fit. He likes to play for these iconic franchises, right? Chicago, New York, Detroit, LA seems like a natural progression. But they always need offense. And then I have Chicago last. That seems like it would be perfect. Just to come back to where it all started. I'm sure Chicago would love to see Kane and Bedard playing together. Next, we have Claude Giroux. This one's boring, but I think he's going to end up re-signing. Probably a retirement deal. If he doesn't re-sign, I'd like to see him in Columbus. He was my first favorite player back in the day, so I'd like that. But as it stands, I see him coming back to Ottawa. Vladimir Tarasenko is up, and it's all but confirmed he'll be leaving Minnesota. I think he's one of the more intriguing guys on the market. There's not a lot of risk here because it's probably just going to be a 1 year deal. So, any team that needs some goal scoring, so that's LA, Boston, I could see a reunion in Ottawa. Um, I'd like him in Columbus. I think if we're kind of a shit show right now, but um, if Marchenko's out, that's a little embarrassing, right? Replacing Tarasenko with Marchenko, but a short-term solution could work. Still, I'll be looking out for him where he goes because I think it's going to be a pretty good signing. Next, we have Mason Marchment. I think he's gone, and I'm I liked him a lot, but I'm not upset he's leaving. I think he's going to get a long-term contract that's going to age possibly badly. Uh, Everyone knows he's a little bit nasty, but I feel like his puck play is very underrated. He sees the ice better than like maybe the best I've ever seen. Right? That's obviously an exaggeration, but he sees the ice incredibly well. He can play with skilled players. He can play down there in a checking line role. So I think any team that maybe needs some help scoring, but also needs to get a little bit tougher. So New Jersey is where I think his best fit, but also Boston and LA, and then Detroit should be all over him. Uh, Montreal's real popular, but they might be scared of the term here. Next, we have Anthony Mantha. I think this has Edmonton written all over it. I wouldn't hate it for them, but it's risky. But they feel like a team that kind of needs to take that risk. So I like that. He's skilled enough. He can keep up with McDavid. Um, Seattle could offer some crazy money to him. They're always in play to do that. And I could also see Buffalo looking to him as a Tuck replacement. I mean, I guess they would go for Marchman. It's only size based, but I could see that. It's kind of funny too. Last year, I was right in my assumption. Not in total, but I was on the right track. I thought he was one of the best signings in the whole free agent class for Pittsburgh. I thought that was great. I did think they would flip him at the deadline, and that's why I thought it was so good. But still, he had a great year. And now this might be the worst one in this class, depending on the term he gets, given his inconsistency and injury history. It's a little scary. Next, our first defenseman, John Carlson. I've been all over him to Carolina even before his rights got traded. You can check my Twitter if you don't believe me. But that's not done yet, so the door's definitely still open for teams like Tampa, Boston, and Philadelphia to make their move. But I'm kind of thinking uh, Carolina is going to make this work. They have the cap space and the incentives since it looks like Nikishin's probably out. Next is Rasmus Anderson, and he's a fit for every dumb team that's going to miss out on Carlson, right? Not that he's horrible, but he's gonna be overpaid, right? I think we're all on the same page there. Boston's always real popular. That's the one that always gets thrown around. They want him. Um, Before Nashville made a GM change, they that's like a lock. They would have given him some absurd contract. I don't see McFarland doing that, but I don't know. I'd actually like one spot I'd like for him would be Ottawa. I think that would be good, but I don't know. I don't think he wants to go there. he kind of forced his way to Vegas ish. I think, if I remember correctly, when he got traded, it was like Vegas or Dallas, but I'm not sure. I'm I'm thinking Boston is probably going to offer him more than he can get from anybody else. A lot of the same goes for Truba. He'll be a pivot for teams that lose out on Carlson. Although I think I like him more than Anderson. I think he's maybe not. He's obviously not better offensively, but he might be better at what he does than Anderson is. So I think Boston would be all over him, right? They could bring in. I don't know their cap space situation, but they have McAvoy, so they wouldn't bring in both. But I think Boston ends up with one or the other. I also see the Islanders uh, here for him. I think he wants to get back around New York. So, and I think the Islanders would do that. They don't have much on the right side. They have Pollock, Pollock or Pellick. I forget which one's right-handed, and then D'Angelo, and they're again Pollock or Pellick. I think it's Pollock. He's a little bit injury prone. He's showing his age a little bit more, and D'Angelo literally just cannot handle hard minutes. So they might be in the market for a right-handed defenseman. He'd be an upgrade on Scott Mayfield. So I see that. Mario Ferraro, your classic unimpressive defenseman that'll get overturned and overpaid. I see him connected to the Rangers a lot. I could see that, but I have a guy I like more for them later. Uh, I could see Detroit. I don't. Right, they have a hole there on their second left-handed defenseman. Presumably, you don't want Ben Sherratt to play there, but you never know. And then Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just traded away Wotherspoon, and spoiler alert, I'm gonna have them losing Ryan Shea as well. So they need a left-handed. They need some. Their left side looks despicable right now. So that's what I got for him. Next is JB Alexiak. I feel very similar to this, the same way I do toward Tarasenko. A short term deal, hopefully, with not much risk because of the term. Um, I'd like to see him in Columbus as just a bottom pair, minute eating defenseman. I'd like that. Maybe Edmonton. Edmonton's a little weak depth wise on the back end, but surely they have something, you know, in the works that they're going to use their cap space for that's bigger than Alexiak. I've always liked the idea of Calgary getting a big defensive minded physical guy to play with Perek while he develops. But you might want someone who has an easier time keeping up with him. And I have someone later that I like more. Same guy that I like for the Rangers, actually. San Jose is another one, the last one that I like a lot. I've always kind of felt like San Jose needs someone who can mix it up and maybe watch out for all their young, smaller, skilled guys. And someone who's not like an active detriment to the team, the way Ryan Reeves is. Uh, Not to diss on Ryan Reeves, he seems like a nice guy, but right, he's not, you know, a he is an incredibly replaceable NHL player, and he might be done. He might be retired. So I like Alexiak there. Back to the forwards, we have Jamie Benn. I think he's gone. Uh, he feels like Vegas or Edmonton to me. I'm sure him and Mark Stone could get past their differences. And Edmonton, just a guy that can sit around the net and bang pucks in. Some people might think he goes back to Dallas, but they're in a cap crunch, and he's really done some things over the years that have made him less and less desirable, and I think they're gonna move on. I think that's the right decision. Next is Matt Zuccarello. His market is going to be a little bit different from the other wingers, I think. So no Boston or LA, but I could see Chicago wanting him to come play with Bedard. Like, remember how good Burakovsky was to start the year? Imagine if that's Zuccarello. He might be an 80-point player. Um, I could see Buffalo as well. A lot of people are saying the Rangers, but I don't like that as much. Tampa's a team that always seems like they just need one more top six winger, so I like that one. We'll see. I don't really have a good idea of where he goes, but I think I like Chicago the best. Matthias Michelli, probably one of, if not the most unexpected guy. I mean, I guess unexpected's not the right word because we've known for a couple months this was going to happen. But seems like a bit too good of a player to not get a qualifying offer. I think every single team that's young with low stakes should be in on him. So Calgary and Vancouver. Uh, the way the Rangers have been moving, I'm I'm kind of just expecting them to get him. He fits right into what they're doing. Nashville and Seattle have also made some similar moves in the past week or so. So I'm really expecting Nashville, Seattle, or New York here. Next is Victor Arvidsson, and I don't know. I don't. I think most people think he's leaving. I think Boston's gonna cave and bring him back with a little too much term, but it might work out. He's always been a little inconsistent, but a pretty good player. And last year he was great. I mean, I don't know what the math is, but 54 points in 69 games. That's nearly a 65-point season pace wise. So that could work, and I think Boston's going to want to make it happen. Next, the defenseman I keep referring to, Ryan Shea. He's arguably the second best defenseman in the class. I think easily the third best defenseman in the class. Uh, the Rangers should want him. Pittsburgh should want to keep him. I think. I guess depending on what the ask is term wise. But the Rangers should be all over him. Calgary, he's the one. I think he can keep up with Parekh. He'd be a very good pair for him while he grows, or even Nemec for that matter. Also, Detroit. If um, they don't have, they don't want Sherratt to play there. I think they're only young. I mean, they have Johansson and Wallander, but come on. I don't think they want them playing a heavy minutes role for them. So I like Detroit, Calgary, and New York. I think he'd be a good fit in all those. Next is Oliver Bjorkstrand. I don't think he will be highly sought after because it did not go well in Tampa. But I think a younger team could turn him uh, into a stopgap between to play with their young players now and then leave by the time other young players are ready. So Chicago, Utah, I like on a short-term deal. Although I think the door's open for Tampa to get him on a prove it deal, like just one more year, and you show us what you got. But it hasn't been good, so I'm expecting him to leave and go to a bad team, to put it bluntly. Our last guy here is Michael Bunting. He definitely lost money during his time in Dallas, but I think this is a good gamble for many teams. He's a pretty consistent middle six scorer. The Rangers need a third line, so like I think Taylor Radish is on their third line, which yep, there's that. Sorry about that, but Taylor Radish isn't going to be a third line player on a competent NHL team. I think he'll be a pivot for the teams that lose out on Mason Marchment. So New Jersey or potentially Detroit or Montreal if they want to go that route. And I'd have to look. I think he's younger than Marchment. I could be wrong about that though. It probably isn't by much. But it's also going to be less of a risk, less term and less money. So I could see that being a reason. Maybe a Montreal would prefer him. Uh, there's a couple more intriguing guys like Tolvanen, Eric Howla, Logan Stanley, but I'd be here for hours if I talked about everybody. So thanks for getting through the video. If you have any input, tell me about it in the comments. I'm all ears and always ready for suggestions. Hopefully, the next time I record, uh, I'm past my sickness and the Zach Wierenski saga is over. But thanks for watching.